from the Chukuma's plane came in. It read, "The enemy fleet is not in Lahaina anchorage. The enemy fleet is in Pearl Harbor." How pleased we were to receive this report. Instinctively, Admiral Nagumo and all of his staff officers looked at each other and could not suppress their smiles. The only thing remaining was to await the results of the attack. Vice Admiral Ryunosuke Kusaka, Chief of Staff, 1st Air Fleet. Japanese pilots had maps to orient themselves above the Pearl Harbor Naval Base. The second wave consisted of 171 planes, 54 B-5N5s, 81 D-3A1s, and 36 A-6M2s.
We must confirm our success. Let's continue attacking ships. Is on fire! Attack the flying boat base!
they achieved complete surprise, and according to pilots' reports, several ships and a large number of aircraft were destroyed. American forces in the Pacific suffered shattering losses. Several battleships, the pride of both sides' navies, were destroyed. Japan implemented an unprecedentedly bold plan. 6 aircraft carriers came almost close to the naval base of the enemy, attacked it suddenly, and achieved complete success in their attack. It was the real triumph for the Japanese Navy. Besides success in Pearl Harbor, the Japanese forces managed to occupy a small island of Wake, which was located in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and had a runway defended by a small marine garrison. Though not without losses among warships, the island's defense was overwhelmed and the landing troops freely landed on its territory. In January 1942, Japan landed its forces in Burma, the Dutch East Indies, New Guinea, and Solomon Islands. On February the 15th, it surrounded 130,000 soldiers during the Battle of Singapore. And in May, the rest of American and English forces yielded themselves in the Philippines. Occupation of all these territories was stipulated by the General Plan before the beginning of the war. Therefore, all subsequent military actions were conducted by Japan in accordance with new plans which were developed after the beginning of the war. Inspired by success of the first months of war, the Japanese considered that they could act on the offensive in utterly different divisions simultaneously. And then the Japanese needed to seize Port Moresby, the major stronghold of the Allies, which was both the way to Australia and the last bulwark of the Allies in the region. The plans also included occupation of the Tulagi Island, aimed at establishing a float seaplane base there. Japan established several formations for the operation, so each of them could act promptly and independently of others. This tactic, as they believed, allowed them to fulfill several tasks simultaneously. The 5th Aircraft Carrier Division was assigned for the operation. It comprised Zuikaku and Shokaku aircraft carriers, which were to protect the landing force. The words and the date are forever etched into the American mind. In less than an hour, 18 American warships were struck. 2,386 lives were lost. However, the attack was not nearly as devastating as it could have been. The Japanese failed to damage their main target, the American aircraft carriers. These types of warship would dominate the American war effort in the Pacific. The Japanese also stopped with only 2 attack waves, believing that the element of surprise was lost. The danger of counterattacks from the USS Lexington and Enterprise remained high. Their location remained unknown. Critically, the US intelligence services had been reading Japanese codes for some time. They understood that the attack was imminent hours before Japanese warplanes were seen over Hawaii. But a series of unfortunate events meant that the warning never reached Pearl Harbor in time. The next day, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt formally asked the Congress to declare war on Japan. By this time, Japan had already declared war on the US. So did its allies Germany and Italy. On December the 8th, the US officially entered World War II. Immediately after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Japanese naval aircrafts attacked Wake Island, an atoll with a military base almost 2,000 miles away from Hawaii. Japanese bombers flying from the Marshall Islands caused considerable damage, destroying 12 Marine Corps aircraft on the ground. More than 1,000 civilians and 500 armed forces personnel had no choice but to defend the island.